Okay, so you leave Xerox in 1978 at age 31.
Yeah.
And then by 1980, you started another company where you were licensing heavy metal rock band t-shirts?
Yeah.
Okay. And you used the money from this company to start investing in stocks and real estate?
I never invest in stocks. I don't trust
Okay.
the stock. I don't trust the stock market. You can. I'm not saying don't do it. I just don't trust them.
Yeah.
So I like real estate because I'm the investor. I don't need to trust anybody else. So anyway, the point is on that, I got into heavy metal simply because there was this company called 98 Rock in Honolulu. And they had a nice logo at 98 Rock. You know, this was in the 80s, I guess. And I got into 98 Rock. We took that brand worldwide, just 98 Rock, FM Honolulu. And then a band called Pink Floyd called me. And they had the book, the music, Teacher, and The Wall, and all that stuff. So the rock bands contacted me. And therefore, there was another band called Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, Van Halen, Boy George, and The Police. So suddenly, Vlad, out of pure luck, I was in rock and roll. And as they say, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. I loved it, man. I was so much fun. I was selling silk screens. So I got a wallet, and I silk screened The Police on it. I got a hat, silk screened The Police on it, and got, all this stuff. And I silk screened Van Halen, Boy George, and all this. Same problem, Vlad. Too much success. We couldn't finance the inventory. So, you know what I mean? Success is not easy. And again, it was another lesson, but thank God I had the lessons before that. And it's just been one big experience to keep learning.
Well, then by 1985, the rock t-shirt company went under as well. And you're 39 years old at this point.
No, it didn't really go under. I just got kind of tired of it.
Okay.
And what I was starting to do was teach at that time. And I found out, I had met a guy named R. Buckminster Fuller, a guy that invented the geodesic dome and all that. And so all through my life, I studied Bucky Fuller, and he got to me. One day I was teaching, I was with him at a seminar outside of Reno, Nevada. And I was just, he asked the question, he says, what does God want you to do? I'm not really religious, I'm not pitching anything here. He says, all of us are born with a purpose in life. He says, what does God want you to do? And he got to me, if you know what I mean. And I said, well, we don't teach money at school, and I think I do understand about money now. And with that point, I started to teach entrepreneurship for free in Hawaii. And the more I did that, the more I found out, Vlad, magic happened. Because I wasn't doing it for me this time. I was doing it for what Fuller called the universe, to give back your gift. And so that teaching in Hawaii wound up to be Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I just told the story of two dads, and that became what I'm supposed to do.
Okay. Well, I mean, before you actually, published the book, you started a firm called Money and You?
Yeah. I didn't start it. I was just teaching for it.
Exactly. So you're basically teaching about financial education, but at that time, what really made you qualified? Because you had two businesses that ultimately, you shut down, but you're teaching people finance. So was there a little bit of a, sort of a hill to get over to try to prove to people that you actually knew what you were talking about at that point?
Well, that's a very good question, because we taught via games. And what we were teaching, again, Money and You is about the teachings of Buckminster Fuller. And our schools teach us not to make mistakes. And what Fuller says, we learn by mistakes. Like a baby can't learn to walk unless they fall down. So the reason many people fail in life is because they're afraid of failing. So I was a little student teaching the game, teaching from another instructor. And I was just teaching games I was teaching via games, encouraging people to make mistakes and how to learn from your mistakes. So that was the process. So it wasn't about me getting smarter, making them smarter. It was basically teaching them how to make mistakes and get the principles. Like if you're a baby and you fall down, you learn something. So my biggest lessons was learning from people I thought were smarter than me, like the accountants and the attorneys. And they turned out to be crooks. Do you know what I mean? That was my lesson, because I thought, like my poor dad was a PhD, I should listen to him, but he was poor. But people listen to poor people, if you know what I mean. And my poor dad lost everything because he ran for lieutenant governor of the state of Hawaii as a Republican. And when he lost the election, the governor fired him, basically saying, "You'll never work again." So when my poor dad lost everything, he lost his pension also. And so all of these life experiences came Rich Dad, Poor Dad, but it was teaching people how to make mistakes.
Yeah, this almost reminds me of, I think, a quote in Warren Buffett's book that I read a while back. He said that Wall Street is the only place on earth that someone takes a train to give someone financial advice who drives a Rolls Royce.
That's one of my favorite sayings also. In other words, these guys who are financial planners are sales guys.
Yeah.
They're not rich people. They're not really investors.
Right.
And so I'm not saying it's wrong, but I don't have a 401k. I don't save money, and I don't invest in the stock market. I am an entrepreneur. I can create my own assets.